Hello, welcome to today's devotional. Uh, it's Thursday. I didn't get on yesterday. I was really hoping to, but I didn't get on yesterday for various reasons. And today I'm just running between various appointments. This is really is going to be a quick one today, but I did want to get it in. So here we are in Proverbs chapter 8, verse 8. And we're going to look at that real quick. Just for context purposes, for in case this is just your only video you watched in the series, just the context is in Proverbs chapter 8 of the Old Testament of the Bible. We're working through one verse at a time, so we're on verse 8 of chapter 8, and the context of this verse is that this whole chapter is kind of presenting wisdom as if she were a woman calling out to you in the on the paths and in the gates and around the city. She's calling out to you and calling you to herself. And so that's just the context. So this is her speaking. It's the personification of wisdom speaking to us in verse 8. And she says, all the utterances of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing crooked or perverted in them. And so here we get this emphasis on the idea, once again, the pairing of the idea of righteousness with this contrasting idea of crookedness and perversion. The previous verse was pairing righteousness together with this idea of truth, and how truth is like wisdom only utters truth, doesn't utter wickedness or unrighteousness. And so then here in verse 8, it's she's saying, all that I say is righteous as opposed to unrighteous, and it's not crooked, it's not perverse, or it's not false, if we pair that with the verse ahead of it. So we get this idea of the truth of what really is. This is what wisdom is about. Wisdom doesn't pervert things. Wisdom goes with what really is true. Evil perverts things. Excuse me. One of the hazards of going live. What is perversion? When we talk about perversion, and he uses this word, nothing crooked or perverted in them. This idea of perversion, it's the idea whenever you treat something in a way that it isn't supposed to be treated, you're perverting it. Or if you change something from what its original intention is, then you are perverting its purpose. You're perverting it. And so that's the idea behind that. So they use the word also crooked, right? So if you imagine like that there's a straight path, a direction that something's supposed to be going in, and if you put a crookedness into it, then you've deviated from its proper course. And so that's the idea. So that's why in the old days they would say a man who was a thief, he's crooked, right? He's not straight. You know what you expect with a person who's straight, they're honest. But a thief is a crook. He's crooked. He doesn't do what he's supposed to. He doesn't go where he should. He breaks the rules, but not in kind of like an innovative way. He breaks the rules of properness. And so this idea here is that wisdom doesn't do that, and wisdom leads us away from that. The idea is when you group it together with yesterday's verse, or 2 days ago, verse 7, you get this idea that there's this really important part of human life. If you want to be a wise person, there's a really important thing of being able to find out what is true and then to live with that truth rather than trying to deny it or reform it or change it to fit what you want the world to be. That you're just going to force something out of its mold into the mold you want it to be. And that this wisdom it doesn't do that kind of thing. Now, this isn't to say that we don't build things or that we don't change our mind on things, of choices that we have in life or things. It doesn't mean that. But the idea that when you understand how the world really works, you don't just try and deny that and force it to be different than it is. A wise person goes, okay, I've now learned what the world is. I now know what this is. And so I'm going to figure out how to live with this truth and not try and pervert it in some way. This applies to things like, just practical things like whether or not you can jump off a cliff but more importantly, the moral things of life. What is right and wrong for me to do? What's righteous or unrighteous for me to do? And when we're searching for righteousness, which is a wise thing, when we're searching for righteousness, we need to understand we're searching to find out what is righteous and then to affirm and live in it, rather than decide what I want to be righteous. I'm going to call this righteous. And because once you do that, you're perverting the righteousness that God made. And that's really unwise and is actually evil. So this is the idea. So as I said, I got to be quick today because I'm between appointments, but that's the idea here today. Really important, and just to go along with last lesson, really important and really wise to learn to accept truth and to follow the right path in life. It's really important for wisdom and for morality. And that's the lesson I'll draw out of verse 8 today. Hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to get on tomorrow and we'll look at verse 9, and we'll explore that idea just a little further before it takes a little bit of a turn. Anyways, God bless you, and keep pursuing God's wisdom and its benefits. Take care.